Jeff was my husband. Jeff was just such a good guy. I mean, he had his issues like the rest of us do, but he was just a good guy. He was a good husband. He was a good stepdad. He was an excellent grandpa. He lived for them grandkids. And he didn't need to die. They did not have to kill him. He was a good man. And obviously he loved to tinker on things. We have cars everywhere that he loved to work on.
Jeff came into my life a little later. He and my mom got married when I was around 18 years old, so I didn't get a whole childhood experience with Jeff. But I will say he made the most incredible efforts to bond with his new stepchildren, and he loved his grandchildren. He would talk about them all the time. He was a man who loved sweets. He loved tinkering on his vehicles. He would every time he saw Violet, he would go and he goes, "Where's Blue Eyes at?" Because on account of her blue eyes, and the Seneca County Sheriff's Office was ill-equipped to handle a man with a mental health crisis. And unfortunately, now my family has a Jeff-sized hole in it. And my children and my stepchildren and my nieces and nephews, they get to live a life without their grandfather. And any time that I needed help, even if I knew that he didn't want to do it, Jeff would drop everything he was doing to come and help me. I remember there were nights where he would come, my car would be broke down on the side of the road at 1 or 2 in the morning. I'd call him and be like, "Hey, I don't know what I'm doing." And he would come, the first person immediately. He'd be like, "I really don't want to, but I'm going to be there." And and sure enough, he was there every single time, 7 days a week. Anytime he needed something, he was there. And he will be missed.
Jeff came into my life when I was about 16. And as you know, teenagers are very hard to deal with, but Jeff made such a big impact in my life. I mean, Jeff was the person that taught me how to drive. He bought me my first car. He supported me when I moved out. He helped me fix up my house. Jeff was there. He's always been there. Like Jerry was saying, he would literally give the shirt off his back to anyone in need. I don't know how many times I would break down with just an old car and he would just be right there to help me out. Any hard, crisis, he was there. Our dog passed away last week, and he was the first person to show up at the house just to give his condolences to our little sister. He came into her life when she was about 12, 13, and again, he taught her how to drive. He was there with her. They had a very special bond, and she is just deeply sad, and she doesn't want to come out and even speak on it because it's just so heartbreaking, and she can't seem to pull herself together. I mean, he really came and just made such an impact on our lives, and it just sucks not having him here because that didn't deserve to happen. I feel like a lot of people are talking about just things that they don't know about, and we actively called the police a couple days ago just about his mental health crisis to get him help, and they did the exact thing. They didn't help him. I mean, he clearly kept saying how scared he was, and watching those videos, everyone just sees that as his last memory, and it's terrible because he's so scared and he's just having so much anxiety, and he just keeps talking about it, and it's terrible to watch because the kids, the grandkids, what are they going to see when they grow up? I mean, do you really want that to be their last way? And where's the de-escalation? Where's anything? Why do we have to lose such an important man in our lives to just something so terrible? I mean, it doesn't make sense.
He entered my life when I was about 14, 13. He taught me how to drive, And I remember I'd get so frustrated and I'd fight with him, but I feel like that's all just nothing now. It's stupid. I wish I would have spent more time with him. I wish it would have been nicer. I can't.
And he was so calm every time, and you know how it is growing up with teenagers, and he was so calm to all of us and caring, and he always said, at the end, he was like, "I love you guys, and you know that, and I'm here for you." And he just made it known, and as people who had such an absent father figure, he just stepped in. And we have a brother who has severe autism. He's, how old is he, 30? 30. He's 31, and he just took amazing care of him. He was always there when my mom had to work, doing all of his daily needs, showering him, taking care of everything. And he was just such an amazing man, and it's terrible the light that he's painted it. It's terrible that he didn't get the help that he needed when we called days ago to get him that help. He didn't even get it, and what did they do?
They shot him. They shot him for no reason whatsoever. And they knew. We said, he needs help, he needs help, he needs help. They told me there are so many resources, I will reach out to you with them. And no, they didn't. Their resources were, let's file charges on him. Let's Shoot him in the freaking street when he's unarmed.
I feel like there's one common theme between what each of you are saying. Is he hasn't been in your life your entire life, but he made such an impact
Yes.
in the time that he
Yeah.
We've been married for, this year will be our 10th year of being married, and I'm gonna miss him so much. I mean, they didn't need to kill him. They didn't need to kill him. There was no reason to shoot him. No reason. All we wanted to do was help him.
And I feel like for you, talk about the first time you met Jeff and what your relationship with him was like.
The first time I met Jeff, I worked at the gas station, and he would come in, and he came in one day and asked me if I saw his dog. He was like, "Did you see my dog?" Just as a way to break the ice and talk to me. And he was so funny, and he was so shy, and it was just, I instantly fell in love with him. I instantly wanted to be by him, and ever since then, we've been inseparable. That man would move mountains for me and for my kids. I mean, he was always there in the drop of a hat. And he was so funny. You know, he would, like, even with the dog, I'm sorry, the next time I saw him, I said, "Did you find your dog?" And he's like, "Actually, my dog wasn't lost, I'm sorry." And I'm like, so it was just weird, and it was fun, and we loved to hike. I mean, he was from Kentucky, so we would go to Kentucky, and we would see his family, and we would go hiking, and we haven't done that in a long time. We haven't gone to see his family in quite a while, so this was insane. But we loved hiking, so we would go hiking, we would go walking, we would do all the things that just entailed being outside.
For the other three of you, do you remember the first time you met Jeff or any impressions that you had of him?
I remember the first time I met Jeff, we had just moved out from Bloomville to an old farmhouse that we had. And I had told him, I was like, "Listen, there's a lot of us, you're getting into a lot." And I go, "I know that this is going to sound like the older step kid who wants you not around, but if you want to get," and he goes, and there were times where he would call me up and he goes, "You know, you did warn me." And I go, "I know, Jeff." And he goes, "I love you guys." And I'm like, "I love you too, Jeff." And
Always said that.
that was
He called me yesterday before he even left 10:03. He was on the phone, FaceTime with me, and he's like, "I love you. I will see you at lunch. I will call you back." And I said, "Okay."
And I I feel incredibly guilty because he called me. I was on vacation on Friday, and before that, I had talked to him Wednesday, Thursday night for a couple of hours because he was going through it, and I could tell he was going through it. And I said, "Listen, man, if you need a place to crash, come crash on my couch. You're more than welcome." I was like, I'm like, "Whatever's going on right now, we're gonna help you." I'm like, and we're gonna try. We're gonna try our best, and it didn't happen. They didn't even make an attempt. But no,
They could have came to the house yesterday morning when he left the house. They followed him because I came out in the backyard. He left. He said, "I love you. I will see you later." I said, "Okay." He got in his truck and he pulled out, and then 10 minutes later, the cruiser goes by. He was home. They could have knocked on the door at any time, and they didn't, because they wanted to be sneaky, because they didn't want to. I know what it was. They didn't want to chase after him. They thought, "Okay, he's a runner. If he's going to run away from them, we don't want to have to run after him. So we're going to corner him out in a field somewhere, and we're going to shoot him because we don't want to chase him." There was no reason to kill him.
And it wasn't his first time with the law, as I'm sure everybody knows, but it seems like he's been being harassed since 2018 when they tried to lie on his name in the stand, and our brother had to prove his innocence and it's just, it makes no sense how you're legally allowed to harass American citizens. It makes no sense. But I wanted to tell a little story that was a little lighter. My first time meeting Jeff, we were actually painting a room, and I was being extremely difficult about how I hated the color, how I didn't want to do this, that, and the third. And then he walks in the room. I'm like, "Who's this guy?" "Who's this guy?" And he just starts talking to us, and he's not talking to us as like, trying to be like that father figure, but he's talking to us as a friend, and he's asking me questions, why I'm having such a hard time, why this, that, and the third. And over the years, we just have grown such a close bond. Like, it's just, he's the person that I can call if I don't, want to talk to my mom about something emotional. And like, I can talk to him, and I know he'll keep a cool, calm, level head with me because he knows how it is. And as someone who also struggles with mental illness, he's the best person to go to about it because he doesn't make you feel ashamed. He doesn't make you feel like you're a burden. Like, he just makes you feel accepted, and like you can go to him with anything. And I don't know how, like, I'm so grateful that he was in my prime years so that he could teach me healthy relationships to have with your own self and your own mental health. And I just wish I could have like helped him a little more, or like done something, because like I was I was a kid. I didn't know how to. I'm glad that I could take all the things that he's taught me, and just live with it and have, I guess, the knowledge that I have now.
And we did. I told him.
When I first met Jeff, I was at the old farmhouse. I think Jerry was there. I didn't really talk to him. I felt like it was my first time meeting him. I felt awkward. I don't know what to say. I know it's a bit of a nothing burger story, but that's he grew on me.
And he was able to grow on like people that are just so hard to grow on, because like Wyatt was saying, like Wyatt is a very awkward, and it really takes some
They're a
hard
tough
time
crowd, yeah.
to like really, and like, we are not an easy crowd to like get along with, but he just like, he came in and just like acted like he was one of us, and like didn't treat us any different, and like didn't look at us any different for any type of struggles we were having, and he just like accepted all of us. And then when everyone started having kids, like I've never had a relationship with our grandparents, none of us have, and he showed us what that is like, and like he would just do everything for these babies. And I mean, like even like Delilah, like our grandchildren are not my grandkid, my niece, she just like kept asking me, she's like, where's grandpa, like yesterday, because she spent the night, and she's like, where's grandpa, and I'm like, I don't know, baby. I have to go figure stuff out. And how do you even break that to a 5-year-old? You can't. And she was so excited for her birthday that's coming up in 2 weeks, and she's like, I can't wait to see grandpa there, I can't wait. And how do you even fix that? You know, you can't even fix that.
Jeff was definitely the love of my life. And I am just so devastated. I'm so heartbroken. There's so many memories. There are so many good times that I just wish I could just hang on to forever. You know, I wish there was more pictures. I wish there was more of everything. And now I'm going to have to navigate the rest of my life without him, and it's senseless and it was unnecessary.
Yeah.
And I can't even put it into words.
All four of you guys talked about his struggles with mental health. I mean, talk a little bit about what he was going through. And it sounds like even with the stuff that he was going through, he was still willing to help each and every one of you guys.
He was having a really hard time this past month. He would go back and forth with moods. I always called it the wave for him. So normally I could just de-escalate situations with him, because he would get very paranoid, and he would feel like he was under attack by things that we didn't know he was under attack by. So I always told him, you need to sign up for counseling. We have to get this done. And he kept telling me he was going to, and then he'd feel better, and we'd go on 6 months where things would be good. For the past 30 days, he has been very on edge. I mean, he's been on edge. He's been very irritable. He's been just out of sorts. And I knew that he was feeling that way, and I was asking him, are you taking your blood pressure medicine? Because he has high blood pressure, and sometimes when his blood pressure's high, he gets a little squirrely. But he said yes, he was taking it. He wasn't sleeping as well as he should be. He was staying up later and later, so I knew his anxiety was at an all-time high. And it came to a head on the 1st, and him and I, he had come into the house, and he had come at me aggressively. And I just told him, I said, you can't do that here. I have Ryan here. You can't be aggressive. And so he left. He stayed gone. I called non-emergency on the 4th because he was still gone, and he was having, clearly something was happening, you know, that I didn't know what was happening. And I told them he needs help. I need resources. And they didn't give me resources. They told me they were going to give me resources. They didn't give me resources. They took it upon themselves to file a warrant against him, which I had adamantly said there will be, you know, I'm never pressing charges on him. I love this man. I want to help him. I'm not pressing charges on him. Are you insane? You know, I didn't fill out any incident reports. I didn't do any of that. And so when I talked to him yesterday, and he had said, we're, because he was in the, I mean, obviously he's back at the house. He has to live somewhere, and I love him, and this is our home, I had said, because he told me he was really paranoid. He was leaving. He was like, I don't know what's going on. And I said, well, it doesn't matter what's going on. You need help. We're going to get the help you need. It's going to be okay. I don't know what he had. There was no diagnosis for him. He definitely had PTSD. He was such a good man. I can't even really explain it. He just would get extremely paranoid. And it's devastating. I didn't know how to help him.
And if you don't mind, I'd like to speak a little bit on Jeff's past, because Jeff had opened up to me as well with his mental health. And I knew Jeff had an upbringing that I do not envy. And Jeff grew up in Kentucky in the hollers, and it sounds like his own parental figures were terrible to him. And he'd have to drive his parents home from the bars when they were smashed at the age of 7 years old. And it sounds like a lot of that upbringing, and then I know that this is around the time that one of his brothers passed away that he was very close with. Yeah. And so this is a very rough period of time for him anyway, and going through a mood swing like this, we knew that he needed help, and we did everything we were supposed to. They talk about all the new units for mental health out here in Northwest Ohio, and where were they? They weren't here. They weren't here when they needed them, so what is the point?
And like, as someone who also like struggles with like the whole like mood disorder, like Jeff, he just had so much anxiety about getting help. And I think there's this stigma around mental health, especially for men, and not getting help and told just to toughen up. And Jeff comes from a time where he was just told to toughen up throughout his whole childhood, like, and we really tried to break down those walls. And especially someone like me, like, I struggle with that so hard. And like, as someone who is diagnosed with like mental health issues, like, me and Jeff just really connected like that. And like, I would tell him, I'm like, Jeff, like, if you go get help, it'll be so much better. And every time he'd be like, yeah, I'll go get it. But when you feel better, you think you don't need it. And as a man, there's just this agenda that's pushed, like, like, be strong, don't cry, don't worry about those feelings. And it sucked to watch him like go through these episodes, but he always bounced back. He always bounced back.
He was on his way back.
And he stayed away because he cared about his family so much. And he's like, I don't want to hurt you guys. Not physically, but he's like mentally, emotionally, like, he didn't want to hurt us, and he thought the best thing he could do would just go to work. He just went to work. He was on his way to work because he's like, okay, if I can't be there, at least let me give them money. Let me do something for him. And even in his time of need, when he doesn't know what to do, he's still thinking about everyone but himself. And it's like,
I remember one story he told me about, he was arrested by the cops back in, 2008. And they had him in a chair restrained, and he asked if he could use the bathroom, and they didn't let him get up. They kept him in that chair for, I think they said, like 12, 16 hours, and they kept him there until he pissed himself, and they laughed at him. And they laughed, and these were the Seneca County boys that did that, and same guys who shot him. Just want that to be said.
And he had run-ins not as late either. But even back in 2018, they took him to court for something that wasn't even what he did. And we had to have my brother, actually. He's not here. He's running a store currently. But he had to go on the stand and basically say, like, hey, like, that didn't happen. Like, I was there. Like, I watched the whole thing. And eventually, it didn't go through because, like, they were lying. But it's just like, how can you trust a department like that? And we thought we were doing the right thing. We were like, hey, he's having a mental health crisis, can we just document this? Can we just to get him the help that he needs? Like, we did it the right way. And they tell you to do the right things and do it the right way, and like, how can we ever feel safe doing it the right way again? I don't feel safe doing it the right way again. I wish we wouldn't have, because he wouldn't be dead. He would be alive.
You guys can take your time, but I'm going to ask about the events of yesterday and where you were and how you found everything out.
Okay, so yesterday I was home. Jeff and I got up. We just did our morning routine. He brushed his teeth. He was getting ready to get out the door, and he He said, I love you. I will see you at lunch. And I said, okay. And he left. And like I said, I was in the kitchen. I could see the cruiser go by like 10 minutes later. And he sends me a text message and say, this cruiser, he said, I'm not even at 224. There's a cruiser on my butt. And I said, okay. I said, well, are there lights on? And he said, no. And I said, okay, well, carry on, just go on with your drive. And he said, okay, well, he's following me all over the county. I've made 4 turns now. I said, pull over. I said, go into a gas station and see what they want. Don't confront them, but just go into a gas station, see if they follow you. They'll get, that will prompt them to have to do something. And then he FaceTimes me. And he says, I love you. I don't know what's going on. I am pretty sure they're trying to get me. And I said, who's out there? And he said, it's still just the one cruiser behind me. And I said, okay. And this was 10:03, we got off the phone. I love you. I love you. He said, I will see you in a little bit. And then he said, I'll call you back. I love you. I said, okay. And then he must have called Jake, because within that time from 10:05 to 10:30, they got him. And after he was shot, which I didn't know he was shot at first, all of this went down. Jake recorded the whole thing, and my son had gotten a hold of me because their dad had gotten a hold of him. Jake and Jeff worked together. So Jake recorded this because Jeff had called him just to have it documented. And then my son called me because Jake had them call me right away. And so my son was like, Mom, I love you. And I said, I love you. He said, please sit down. And I said, okay, I'm sitting down. And they said, they just killed Jeff. And I said, what do you mean they just killed Jeff? I said, I just talked to him. I just got on the phone with him. And he said, they blocked him in and they shot him. He said, Jake has the whole thing on video. They're getting it together right now. And I was like, in shock. And no one came to the house. Not one trooper, not someone from Seneca County. Nobody came to the house. My daughter was like, I'm on my way. I called her. She was like, oh my God, what do you mean? So she called. They were on their way over, and they said they saw a road blocked, because I took Ryan, that's my handicapped son, and I drove that way because I was like, I know he's around here. I turned on 360. He had turned it off when he got home the night before, so it had been off since 10 o'clock the night before. So I drove that way, and I didn't see anything closed. And when they came, they said they saw the one road that's closed that goes all the way to 19. So we went back, and I drove all the way up to the BCI trucks that were there, to them. Me and Wednesday got out of the vehicle, and I had said I walked up to them. His truck was still there, and I said, they were like, you need to get out of here. And I said, I'm not going to get out of here. I'm his wife, and not one of you came on. And at this point, they had already posted something on Facebook. I saw that as we were on our way over there. And I don't know if it was Stevens or not. It was some little man came walking up to me, and he was like, introduced himself, and I didn't give a I was out of the, you know what I mean? I was just not thinking that right now. I go up, and he was like, I said, this was posted on Facebook, and you couldn't even come and tell his wife that you killed him? And they were like, oh yeah, my bad. My bad? Really? You murdered my husband, who was unarmed. I told him on the way, I said, you are too old to be doing this. Just pull over and let them do it. And then that's what he says. I'm too old for this. You know what I mean? Like, we just wanted a normal day. That's my son.
I know, I hear Ryan.
And they killed him. They killed him for nothing. And they never came to tell me. I had to go and find him.
My mom called me, I don't know, it was probably like, I don't even know what time you called me. I just know that she called me.
After Pete, so it was 10:40.
Yeah, she called me, clearly in distress. I had her on speakerphone, and she's like, they shot him. They killed Jeff. And I'm like, who killed Jeff? And they're like, the police. And unfortunately, I had it on speakerphone, so my niece did hear it. And as hearing that about her grandpa, she instantly was hysterical. Tears, asked me what was wrong. I felt terrible because I was trying to keep it together, but I was just bawling because I just lost my stepdad. Like, one of the only father figures I knew, I just lost him. And I was like, no, it didn't happen. I'm not going to believe that. I want to see it. I go to my mom's. We go there, and then you see it, and we're like, hey, can we see him? Can we see him? And of course you can't. He's just like sitting, baking in the hot sun while they take a bunch of photos, just aren't being very like nice to my mom, to us. They didn't even want us there. They were telling us to leave, and it wasn't even till like another man showed up. I think it was the coroner. I don't remember his name because it was just a lot. And they were like, wait, after this literal like police officer was like, get out, leave, like kept shooing us away with his hands. And I'm like, this is his wife, because my mom, you know, was crying, and I'm like, this is his wife. I'm his daughter, like, please just like give us something. And then we wait there for like an hour before they even come back up to the car. And then they're like, you know, like, is he in there, can we see him? And they're just like, and it sucks because you know they're gone, but like you still feel so sad. And like, why are you letting him sit in there? Like, why are you, like, we can't just move him, like there's nothing we can do. And then you watch the video, and I wouldn't even let my mom see the second video because it's terrible. And he's begging for his life. He's like, I have anxiety, I'm scared, like you guys got guns pointed at me the whole 10-minute interaction. And he's just like crying, screaming. He's like, I'm unarmed. He's like, I have 2 small pocket knives, and throws them. He's like, I'm unarmed. Like, I don't have anything. I can't have weapons. And he's just pleading for his life for like the last like 20 seconds, like actually begging, telling them to. So he puts it in reverse to like get out of there because, you know, like you don't think you're gonna get shot for fleeing. Like that's not even like legal. And it's just like, dude, like how are you about to just literally shoot him when he's alone, scared, begging, saying he has anxiety. He's like, let me.
Unloaded on him.
He's like,
15 times.
Hi Ryan. He's like, let me breathe,
Hang
give
on,
me
buddy.
space. And they're just
Okay,
not.
get in the shower then, Bubba. Okay.
They're just like,
He has autism, and that's who is so good with him.
yeah. But he's like, give me space, let me breathe. And they're just like, no, like, get out. And he has his hands at the window. And like, at just one point, it's just like, dude, like, you can't. And they know all their names, and they're talking, and he's just like, but he's clearly having a mental health crisis. He's having an episode, and we told them that he's in this state. So like, why didn't they just come when he was here? They saw him here. Like, they couldn't have came when he was with his wife. Like, they know he has a history of having these crises, and it's just like, dude, like.
It was around, I think, 10:45, just after Mom told Wednesday. Wednesday called me because the niece was over there, and so she wanted to go over to Mom, and she wanted me to watch Delilah, my niece, for a bit because, well, someone needs to be there with her. She's only 5. And I come over, and they say, did you hear? And I said, did I hear what? And so I go into another room, and they said, they shot him. They shot him in the head. He's dead. I'm like, what? That doesn't even make sense. I didn't even believe it, really. And then I saw the videos, and it was brutal. It was rough. It was a hard pill to swallow. And you know, they shouldn't have killed him. He reverses his car, and they mag dump the car. I'll hand it over.
It was about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I was currently at work during the time. I'm a human resources director over at a second rank chef in Fostoria. But I go to lunch, and then I'm on my way back from lunch, and I call my mom to talk about some menial trivial problems that are going on in my life. And she's crying, and I go, what is wrong? What is going on right now? Is everything okay? Are you and Jeff okay? And she says, they killed him. And I go, who killed who? I'm like, what happened? What's going on? And she goes, it's Jeff. And I'm like, who killed Jeff? He goes, the police shot him. And they didn't tell me because they were like, well, he's at work, he's doing something important. And I'm beyond enraged. The incompetency of this department. When I do my job bad, people don't get paid. When they do their job bad, people don't get to live. And we're seeing this. A man with a mental health crisis who is a good father, a good husband, a good grandfather. He's gone. And I drove over and I told my mom, I said, listen, I'll be right there. Calm down. And I drove by and I took the long way in, and I saw the BCI trucks, and I saw the road closed side, and I lost it. I was like, there's no way. It's right there.
You guys had referenced the videos as well that were shot by his friend Jake. I mean, when you saw bits and pieces or the full video, what was the first thing?
I instantly cried. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. I instantly cried, and I watched all the videos because I don't know. I watched them all, and part of me wishes I wouldn't have watched them all, but also part of me didn't want to feel like he died in vain or suffer alone, or I don't know. And it's like they're terrible. I wish no one has to like go online and see their father being killed by the police. Like, I genuinely wish that on no one. And you go online and you see all these mixed opinions of people feeling sorry for you, and then people like making like fun of the situation, and it's just so hard to deal with. Like, you can't even grieve in peace, and then you just feel like, I don't even know, like scared. Like, you go outside and nothing feels right. Like, nothing feels even real. Like, it feels like this didn't happen. Like, I'm gonna like wake up from a dream. Like, we have talked about it from like 10:30 to like last night at like 1:30 in the morning, because we just can't wrap our heads around it. Like, I feel like we've just been crying nonstop, and just like, and on top of it all, like, your daily life can't stop. We can't stop caring for Ryan. Like, you know, you can't just stop caring for someone that needs you. And now he doesn't have Jeff, you know, so he's waiting, you know, by the door, waiting to like say, you know, like, greet Jeff with a hug. Like, and he's not there. He's not coming back. You can't even explain that to him. He just, you know, he carries on. He doesn't know. And it's just like, I don't know. It's terrible. It's terrible, and I wish no one has to ever deal with that.
I was angry. I was watching it, and I was mad. I wanted something. I just wanted bad things to happen to like just all the cops there. I was like, I hated it. I hated watching it. It just made me so mad. I was like shaking mad, and just seeing it was f***ing. It didn't get better. It just gets worse. It gets worse. The video is not good. I'm glad it was taken so that people could see what happened. You know, I want people to see what happens. I want people to see how these cops did him. They didn't do him good. They did him like a rat. They shot him. And all the cops, well, not all, but all of the Seneca ones, they're rats, and they're bad. Yeah, you know.
I can't watch the whole video. I can't watch the end. As soon as I hear him screaming, I just can't do it. I just can't do it. I loved him so much, and if he would have called me, I would have been down there in a second. It was less than 5 miles from here. They literally killed him. There was no reason to kill him, and that video just kills me. And I can't get online. I can't. I would be fighting with everybody online. I can't do it. Because he's not this awful monster that people are trying to make him out to be. You know, it's not like, hey, go cops, good job. No, it wasn't a good job. It wasn't warranted. It shouldn't have happened. It shouldn't have freaking happened.
And even like not painting the cops as monsters, like, why does someone just have to die for a traffic stop? Why is someone that's clearly scared, clearly just wanting to know what the warrant is for, that we didn't even press charges? It was literally to get him help. Why can't you just say that? Don't we have a right to know? And he's clearly scared, and it's just,
Because they pressed charges. Because they didn't like
it's
him,
just,
so they killed him.
it's a terrible thing to watch. It's a terrible thing to have to happen. It's a terrible thing to explain to kids that don't understand, that just want to see their grandpa. It's all around terrible, and I have no words. I feel like my body feels like it's exhausted from talking, from crying. Like, I don't know how many hours I just could not stop crying yesterday, and I felt terrible. And you feel guilty. You feel guilty. Like, I felt like we did the right thing by going to the police, trying to like say, hey, he's having a mental health crisis, and then what happens? Like, he gets approached and he dies. Like, I feel immense guilt, and I wish I wouldn't have. If I could have done it again, like I said, I wouldn't have got the cops involved. I wouldn't have told anyone he's having a mental health crisis, because it feels like no matter what you do, no matter where you turn, like, you're not going to get the help you need. And this just further like proves my point, right?
And I will say this. Nothing will ever fix this.
No.
Literally nothing. You cannot replace a human life. And the people that did this to him, they will meet the maker eventually, and they will suffer, and they will suffer what we're suffering right now. But right now, there needs to be accountability, and I know personally I will not stop, and I will demand accountability and respect and everything for this situation, because this is a situation that was mishandled, and And it didn't need to happen this way. A mental health crisis, and with the tools to stop, they had spike strips, they had tasers. They decided immediately to go to lethal force because they didn't like him.
That's exactly why they killed him. They didn't like him.
They
and
didn't
shot
want to-
him. He had run-ins with these people before, and that's what it was. They didn't want to run after him, so they freaking killed him. They stopped him with a bullet, so they didn't have to run around.
Were any of you guys able to talk to Jake after he shot those holes?
Jake was actually on vacation when this whole thing unfolded. He asked me if he should drive back, if there's anything we need, because Jeff was like a sole provider. Not a sole provider, but my mom lost her job a couple months ago, and he's been the sole provider since. And even before then, he was, 50-50. And like, Jake knew that, and Jake was like, hey, is there anything I can do to help you? Like, do you need help with your bills? Do you need groceries? Like, what do you need? You need gas for Ryan, because Ryan loves to go on rides. And like I said, like, now that we have, no one here to help us out with any of those things, especially Jeff. Jeff was an amazing mechanic. Like, you start to think about that stuff. Life doesn't stop when something happens, unfortunately. And in a tragic event like this, like, life keeps rolling. And Jake, he was just there. Jake broke down on the phone. We were on the phone last night for an hour, and then my brother called him this morning because it just, he feels like part of the family now. He feels like, like we need to keep in touch, and he was devastated. He was devastated. He started calling out to get justice for Jeff. He wanted justice for Jeff, so he got a hold of news stations. He put the videos out there. He didn't want this to go unnoticed. He did his part, and he's heartbroken. He's heartbroken like any best friend would be. He keeps calling us, keeps texting us, and he's on vacation. He should be enjoying that. But that got ripped away from him because his best friend got ripped away from him. So the least we can do now is FaceTime him, talk to him, like cry together. I mean, what else do you do but just cry? There's nothing that can bring him back, and it's genuinely a big hole in your heart that nothing will ever fix, and we need justice for Jeff.
Jake is absolutely a superhero in this. And he did so right by Jeff for freaking recording it, keeping it going. I mean, if he would have called me, I wouldn't even have known how to screen record. You know what I mean? I told Wednesday, I was like, I don't even know what I'm doing. How did he record this like that, And I'm so, so thankful, and I'm so grateful that he did this. I didn't want it to be happening, obviously. I didn't want any of that to be a thing. But we're thankful to Jake for being there. And I'm so thankful that he was talking him down and trying to, just trying to get him out of a situation that wasn't, because he was obviously scared he was going to get killed. And Jake was like, you're not going to get killed. You're going to be okay. I mean, he did get killed anyway, but Jake, I'm gonna go get Violet. We're really thankful that Jake recorded this, and it needed to be out there. It needed to be seen, and it's such a freaking tragedy, and it's absolutely heartbreaking. And I know that Jake is heartbroken, and I know that the rest of us are just devastated. So, I personally have not talked to Jake since this has happened. He's been on vacation. Him and I weren't really friends. He worked with my husband, so I heard a lot of stories on Jeff's end about Jake, and we would laugh. But I don't, I only saw Jake in passing, and I would say hi, and that's it. But when he gets back from vacation, I'm absolutely going to tell him how thankful I am, because this has just been awful. And he was definitely there for him in his literal last moments. And I couldn't be more thankful for that.
I want to go back to something you said. You talked about the circumstances, people talking, online about
Yes.
it. You're trying to clear the air. I mean, when you see people say things like that, some of the comments that you've seen online, just what is that?
Rage. I am so angry that people are so thoughtless and so careless that this isn't somebody's husband, somebody's, stepdad, somebody's grandpa, somebody's brother, somebody's sister. Jeff is a freaking person. He wasn't just this ultimate bad guy running around. In fact, he wasn't an ultimate bad guy at all. He was a good guy. And I I can't listen to it. I can't look at it. I just stay off of it because it's just too much. And I know my kids have been out there, being warriors, and I can't. It kills me. It breaks my heart, and it makes me feel like it could be you at any minute. You don't know. It could be you in a second. Jeff was up yesterday morning. We said goodbye. We said, I love you. An hour and a half later, he was shot dead in the street. That could be any of you, for nothing. He threw his weapons out. He put his hands up. He did, you know what I mean? Yes, he put it in reverse. He was trying to get away from them. He was going backwards. They shoot him. So I can't do the online. It kills me and it makes me rage, and I just can't. Especially in this small area. I know these people. I go to Tiffin every day, If you don't know, keep your mouth shut, because if it happens to you, there's going to be somebody out there doing that to you, saying those terrible things to you.
I like that quote that I think that Jerry said, that there was going to be a Jeff-sized hole.
It's bigger than a Jeff-size hole. It's bigger than a Jeff-size hole. This is my whole life. I loved him so much. We had so many plans. 2 days ago, we were talking about going to Hocking Hills and just, living our lives because life was going on.
The two of you guys agree with that statement?
Oh, 110%. She was like, hey, will you watch Ryan so we can go a camping? I was like, yeah, sure, anytime. Anytime. But yeah, no, there's definitely a Jeff-sized hole. I think there's a bigger hole than you could ever fill. I mean, dealing with such a close loss is something I've never had to deal with. And this being so directly close and impactful to us, to the whole family, it's just, it's terrible. And you see what was going on, you see what was happening, you see like the exact state of mind that he was in, and you feel bad, and you wish you could have done more, said more. You wish you were there, but also you wish you weren't there, because it's like, I don't want to see that. And like, could you have stopped the outcome? Would the police have listened? Because they clearly weren't doing any de-escalation. I mean, they weren't doing anything. They were just pointing your guns at him, and like then you go online and you see all these comments, and it's just terrible. And
Yeah, and it feels like people like make a comment just off a headline. They don't watch the video. It's there. Anyone can watch it. Do they watch it? They don't. They just put their 2 cents in without knowing anything. They know nothing, and they say things. And that's the internet for you, I guess.
there'll forever be a hole in all of our hearts. I don't think we'll ever move past this. I know for a fact I won't move past this. I know our family won't move past this. I think there'll always be a hole in this family now that can never be replaced.
What's next? I mean, for your family, how do you move on from something like this? I mean, I think each of you said you can, but
I'm not entirely sure what's next. I am so devastated. I am trying to get through every day, every night. Last night was terrible. And I'm hoping every day gets a little easier, but he was my forever person. I plan on loving Jeff forever. And I'm going to get justice for him. This is not going to go unbothered. I am going to raise hell because this is ridiculous. You shouldn't have killed him. You shouldn't have killed him. We built a life here. We are homeowners. We are grandparents. We are parents. And so what's next is we're going to remember him. We're going to do everything we can within our power to make this right, to make something happen. I can't bring him back, but I sure as hell will try and get him justice.
Definitely justice for Jeff. This will not go unrecognized. I have been doing everything in my power since yesterday, since I saw the videos. I've had to sit and watch through them, and I won't let that just go like unnoticed. I don't care what I have to do. I will go to the ends of earth to bring this man justice. I know he can't do it himself, but I know that's what he would have wanted. And that feels like the only way that I can help is doing what he would have wanted, speaking out, not just letting this get swept under the rug.
For future steps for what I'm planning on taking, I've already been looking at the calendar of events for Seneca County for the different villages and the open, like the town hall meetings and everything. And I plan on attending town hall meetings to raise concerns about the sheriff's department, how they're running, and if it comes down to it, maybe seeking a political activist role to possibly get a different sheriff in charge if that is determined that's what needs to happen. But I'm going to be going to all of these town hall meetings from here on out to raise my concerns and raise vocal concerns and with evidence and everything, to just say, hey, listen, this is what happened, this is what they said, there's a complete disconnect between the reality and what was stated, and he will never come back. And I hate that I have to say that he won't be coming back. And so the next best thing I can do is to seek justice for him.
I agree with what they said. God. Being the last person to talk is hard because they say everything I'm thinking. And so I'm just like, man, I agree with what... Yeah, they...
Yeah, he would have. And as Jeff, he didn't really know what to say a lot of times when it came to like tough things. So he definitely would have laughed at what I just said.
Yeah, he definitely was lighthearted and would make jokes, you know. I'm gonna miss him. I'm gonna miss him.
If you guys were to leave one message for Jeff or something that you would want him to know right now, what would that be?
I would want Jeff to know that I love him so much. And I know that he knows that. That's the thing, I know that he knows, but he never heard it enough. He always was, I love you, I love you, I love you. And I'm more of a standoffish, like, okay, I love you too, you know? But I love him, and he will forever be my person, and I'm gonna miss him so much. And my days are going to be so, so different because he's not here. And I just wanted him to come back. You know what I mean? I just want him back. I don't want to give him a final message. I want him to be here.
I don't really know what I would say because I don't really want there to be a final message. I guess I would say that I loved him and I'm sorry. I would say that I was sorry. That I wouldn't have went to the police. That I would have just let him know what I would have done. That I feel bad. That I wouldn't have done it to what I done, and I feel sorry. And I wanted to know that I love him. But I hope that he knew that. Like I really hope that he knew that. And I know that I was so hard to raise, and I feel terrible. And even just last week, he was helping me move into my apartment. Well, not last week, but it felt like last week, a couple months ago. And he was like, oh, I know you'll be the best nurse. I want you to get out of here. I want you to live your life. Like, I'm so proud of everything you've done. And I don't know. I wish I would have. I don't know. I guess I would want to know that I loved him, and that I'm sorry, and that if it was up to me, I would have done something different.
I'd want him to know that I love him, and that I'll never forget him. I'll always remember the times we had, the time we spent together, even just the dumb, you know? I'll remember all of it.
If I had to leave a final message to Jeff, I would say that I wish he wasn't right. He when he was spiraling and he called me and he said, if they come after me, they're gonna kill me. I know they're gonna kill me. And I was like, Jeff, you're talking crazy. It's not gonna be. And I wish he wasn't right. And I want him to know that he was very much loved, that I loved him, that Beth loved him, that Violet loved him, and that he was very much loved, even if he didn't see it.
Is there anything else that you guys would like to add here? I mean, this is a very strong thing that you guys are doing, coming out and talking.
I just want people to watch the video. If you didn't watch the video, don't leave a comment. Don't spew ugliness about something you don't know. He was a good guy. He was a good guy, and it could be you. This could be you. This could be anybody you know. And obviously, we loved him, you know, and now lost my husband. I lost my best friend. I lost the person that helped me through every single day. Who's gonna text me 50 times a day, you know? Because he was good for that. I just love him, and I miss him. And thank you.
Whether you guys have anything else?
Anything else?
Just like my mother said, if you haven't seen the video, you need to see the video, because if you're going off what the police report says, it says, oh, it makes it sound like, oh yeah, good job, boys, and it's not a good job, boys. They messed this up, and they messed it up big time. And please watch the video. I want people to know the truth of what happened. And I know that it's up on WTOL 11, and it's easily accessible online. And I know that I'm not going to stop saying for people to watch it and to learn for what really happened. And that I just wish that the people that are out there, and I know that there's people out there that are upset in their own lives and just taking it out on other people, but you're taking it out on a grieving family. A grieving family with 2 special needs members that he was perfect for. And now he's gone, and he'll never be back. They took that from us. And I want people to understand that they took him from us.
And to touch back on that special needs, Ryan is a 7'2", 500-pound man, nonverbal autistic. Everyone is scared of Ryan. Everyone is scared of Ryan, but not Jeff. Jeff was never scared of him and never treated him how everyone else treats him. And how do you take someone that's so hard to get, that's so hard to like actually accept you? How do you take that away from somebody like that doesn't deserve it? Like, we cannot even talk about ourselves in this situation. We can just talk about that man that's in there that loved Jeff. Like, how do you take away that from him? Especially when you don't.
Jeff was a good man. That's all I have to say.
Just for accuracy purposes, you guys, how many stepchildren and children does Jeff have?
Jeff has,
7 stepchildren.
yeah, there's 7 of us. I was trying to think if he had,
Yes.
if he had anybody else anywhere. Let me think about it.
No.
He has 7 stepchildren and 4 grandchildren. Yep.
And how many of them are old enough to maybe know?
Our oldest grandchild is 5. She'll be 6, so she knows. She knows.
The youngest one is 2, so they're young toddlers that just know, hey, I love my grandpa. Where is he? And he's gone.
Yep.
Anybody else has anything to add?
I don't. Wednesday, you seem to.
Just justice for Jeff. I don't want this to go unsolved, and I want justice.
I think I said my piece.
Guys, I really appreciate it. Yeah, thank you guys again.
It's weird. It's weird.
I know.